Oh well. Stuart, since the international break, 2 games, 2 wins, 3 goals in both games. How important is it to keep that run going, the good form going?
Yeah, very simply, we want to stay in a good run. That was the focus following the defeat from Rangers here. And I kind of spoke about that international break being a working week and you know, trying to reap the benefits from it. So so far so good on that front, but we've had another good working week this week, and then obviously just having that real focus on Dundee United. I was at Tannadice on Sunday, and you see them getting a win. It was obviously much needed for their point of view, and they've been on a poor run, but I think that will give them a real lift, and it will give them a major incentive for what comes in the remainder of the season. So we know it's going to be a real difficult game, and we know that we now go up against a team that have got their tails up and probably playing with 20-30% more confidence than what they had previously. So they've got a good team, they've got a good squad of players. I think it's been well documented that they'll feel they've underachieved this season, but like I say, I think we just have to really concentrate, and it's going to be a difficult game. It's going to be a tough game. You know, when you play against teams that are at the bottom end of the table and they're fighting for their life, I think it can make it so much more challenging, and that's what I expect, and that's what the players will expect on Saturday.
Yeah, how difficult is it for yourselves to get up for a game when you know that they're absolutely fighting for their lives, and then you boys, after winning so many games, perhaps not so much? Do you find it difficult? Will it be difficult, or do you think with the form you're on it'll be fine to keep?
No, I always make a case for what cause is greater. You know, people would argue if you're fighting for your life and you're at the bottom of the table and you've been on a bad run, that your cause is greater. I don't necessarily go along with that, because I really want to think about trying to keep us on what's been a very good run for us over this last period of time. And as I keep saying, we want to amass as many points as we possibly can. So that cause for me, and trying to entertain our fans and trying to get another victory at home, those are all aspects that I think can be a catalyst for us to be motivated to play in any game. But listen, I'll go back to this. Through time I'll be asked questions about League Cup sections and how much does it mean, or do you use it as part of pre-season, all the rest of it. I can probably just sum it up moving forward over the next spell, that I take every game as serious as the last one, and I'll never change from that. I think when you start coming off it and thinking that you can be a slighter version of yourself, then you're going to encounter trouble. So I think it's just important that you maintain standards at everything you do. And again, I know that's the really serious part. You sit here stern-faced and you start to say that, but when you set those standards, it just breeds a habit of trying to win games of football. If you think about anything else or it's not as important, then it breeds another habit, which is normally one that we all start complaining about. Supporters are unhappy, players are unhappy if you're not getting results, we as staff are unhappy, and you just never want to encourage that being a factor at your football club.
Top 6 is still mathematically possible, I think, but it might be a stretch given that 6 points to play for, 6 points to get there. Is there a feeling, with the brilliant form you've been in since you've come in, that if you'd come in a few games earlier, or if there were a few more games to go until that split, that the top 6 would be a realistic aim for yourself?
There's an old saying, I better not say it here in front of the press conference, but what if? So it's one of those ones. You guys know what I'm talking about. But no, from my point of view, I encountered the situation. The football club encountered the situation, and starting to think about had I come in at another point, had players been fit, had we got certain decisions and all the rest of it. That's football, isn't it? That's how it works. Literally, from my point of view, the remit was coming in that first game against St Mirren. I took on the role. The players took on the task in hand, and we've just worked with that ever since. I think what you would say is the sense that it's mathematically possible, and it's a massive outside chance that we still have an opportunity to get top 6. It's pretty amazing from where we started, but again, it's not really been a focus. I'm probably just reacting to the situation that you speak about, but I think for us to be in that position with 2 games to go is pretty remarkable in terms of how the players have performed and how they've acquitted themselves. But it's genuinely about another game on a Saturday, 3 o'clock, trying to get 3 points, and that's what we'll do, and we'll take it after that and see where we go. If we can perform the way we have done the last couple of weeks, then I think we give ourselves a brilliant chance to win some more points on Saturday. And if we don't, we know we're going to be in for a real tough afternoon.
On the other hand, Stuart, does that victory effectively make you safe? or do you feel you're safe at the minute?
Nah, you're never going to hear those words coming from my mouth. Safe from what? You know, that would be my question. Safe from what? You know, we set ourselves goals, we set ourselves challenges. Those challenges and those goals have sort of evolved over the last few weeks, and they change, I suppose, when you start to see other results and you start to put points on the board yourself. But I just keep speaking about control the controllables. What all we can do, you know, starting to look at other results, i.e. Dundee United winning, Ross County getting a really good away victory last week. It doesn't really matter, and it doesn't affect us as long as we're doing our job, as long as we keep putting wins on the board, as long as we keep performing well. Then I don't tend to look at too many other things out with that, and again, that'll be the message to the players, and has been the message to the players this week, that we just focus on what we do ourselves, and as I say, those goals have maybe slightly changed for us in terms of points tallies you think you can get, maybe placing in the league and all that sort of stuff. It does change through time, I get that. But again, we can only control what's in our hands, and that's an opportunity to win one more game of football.
You mentioned obviously the aspect of top six still there or thereabouts, probably, possibly, but you must be delighted with the overall turnaround the club's had. When you came in, there was some serious situations going on where you were in the league. Now there's that upbeatness back. You must be delighted with all that.
Yeah, I love seeing it. I think we all do. You know, when you walk into a football club, even for you guys coming in of a day, you don't want to see people doom and gloom. You don't want to see heads down and, you know, people feeling sorry for themselves. I think that's just the nature of the beast, isn't it? When you look at football, nobody wants to come in and see that negative attitude. Nobody wants to see people looking over their shoulder and being worried and all the rest of it. Now again, I'm not saying that we've done anything or we've achieved anything, but the one thing I do enjoy is coming into my work every morning. I thoroughly enjoy it, and I see a group of people and the staff and the players that do exactly that. But I think that you only get that feeling with what you've put in, and again, I've said it over a number of weeks now that probably is the bit that pleases me most about how the players have acquitted themselves, how receptive they've been, and how they perform in those big moments, or how they have performed in those big moments. And as I say, that feel good factor on a Monday morning and through the week only comes from the work that you do on a Saturday. And if we can keep repeating that, then hopefully we can keep coming into this football club and making it a bright and kind of vibrant place to be.
If it were to be the bottom six, I mean, there's going to be 5 games that are going to be blockbuster, aren't they? In terms of people can still, it's so tight at the bottom. The way this split works, it's going to give us some real tasty games right until the end of the season. Yeah,
and I think that's what makes it. I keep speaking. I'm a big advocate of Scottish football, and sometimes we have that. We use that negative side of it to beat all ourselves over the head with, and I don't buy into it personally. I think we're going into this kind of last stretch of the season, and again, there's so much excitement, there's so much to play for, be it the bottom half or be it that top end of the table. And I think on that basis, I think most supporters will be going to games most week. Yeah, it'll be tense and it'll be frenetic at times, but there's plenty to play for. And I think as a supporter coming to watch football and seeing drama and seeing good goals and seeing elements of good defending, mistakes, all that sort of stuff, that's why you pay your money. So again, from a Scottish football point of view, I think it's been teed up exactly as we would like.
Just to go back to the game on the weekend, you mentioned you went to Tannadice to have a look at Dundee United. What can you learn from that, and what kind of team are you expecting to face up against?
No, I think you can see what Jim's trying to do, what he's tried to achieve since he went in there. Maybe a little bit unexpected from some people. Again, I would give him full marks and a huge amount of credit. There's a lot of people that would maybe have turned their nose up at that situation, but I think that shows you what Jim's character is. And I think that he's tried to instill that in his team, to make them really difficult to play against, to be aggressive when they're out of possession, to be aggressive when they're in possession, and I think what they've given themselves is a foundation to work from. Everything I spoke about a lot, quite a couple of months ago, but giving yourself that platform to try and go and put points on the board, and I think that Jim's done that on Sunday, convincing the players, convincing the supporters that they're able to get a result, which they have done, and that's what I learned from it. That's, I'll obviously keep in house the specifics of the personnel and the specific plan that they had against Hibs. Now that might alter for Jim coming here on Saturday as well, because I keep speaking about how you perform and how you play home and away, and sometimes how that can change. So it's a different situation now. They're away from Tannadice and they come here to play against us. We set up a different way from Hibs, so all those factors, it's just, for me, it's about having as many different things in your head so that you can respond to what you see on the game.
Yeah, Stuart, there's a lot of players out of contract at the end of the season. Just wondering how much progress you're making tying people down for next term?
Yeah, we're working really hard on it. I think there's a lot of players that have been performing well. There's still a lot of players in contract. I think we've still maybe got 15, 16 players in contract here next season. But no, certainly for the guys that are out of contract, there's a number of players that we've spoken to. There's offers that have been put forward, conversations with the players directly, but probably most importantly in these days is the agents as well. So we are working hard towards it. The one thing I need to say as well is that what we don't have is astronomical amounts of money. What we don't have is a massive budget at this football club. So certainly I know, or I've got a picture of the situation that will be at the football club moving forward, you know, into this next transfer window as it will be. It's not to say that we're dealing with absolute poverty, but there's obviously a cap on certain aspects and what we can offer as a football club. And I will speak about the pond that you can fish in. You know, there's different levels across the Premiership in Scotland. Of which I would suggest that our financial situation and where we are and what we can offer players probably sits towards the bottom end, and we'll act accordingly, and we'll try and be as clever and as smart as we possibly can in that situation. But I think it can make people assured that we've been working exceptionally hard on that. And you know, since I've come in, working with the head of recruitment and other guys around about the football club, including the board and the chairman, we've been incredibly active in trying to make sure that we get the best players and keep the best players at this football club. So we've not been naive. We've not been sitting there waiting to see what happens in certain situations. We've worked really hard to try and make sure we have the best group of players moving forward.
I mean, one that the fans would love to see stay is Max Johnson, obviously. Is it realistic that he will be here next season? Do you have high hopes that he will be here next season?
There's been nothing to suggest otherwise. There's been absolutely nothing to suggest otherwise. You know, I've got a really good relationship with Max. Again, I'll say I think Max knows what I think about him. I think he's played. He started every game since I came in. I knew he was a good player before I came in. I'd watched him several times playing at Cove in the first half of the season as well. I watched him run about the football club, so I know how good a player Max is, and I'm seeing him flourish. I'm seeing him improving every single time he takes to the pitch. So there's been nothing to suggest otherwise. From my side, there has been an offer made to the player, and I understand that he may want to take time over that, but the simple message to Max was that we need him to go and keep performing exactly how he has been of late, and showing people how good a player he is, because sometimes that can become a wee bit of distraction, everything else that's going on in the background. But not full marks from me to a young player, and how he's handled himself in the situation. But I can again assure people that we would love to have him at this club next season.
And just finally for me, sorry, how is the squad looking on Saturday? Have you got any injury?
Yeah, we've again, Callum Butcher had came off in the game. I think everybody had seen he kind of hobbled off in the game on Saturday against Livingston. So he's not been back out in the pitch, so we just need to kind of monitor that one and see how it's going. I'm a wee bit more positive than we first thought. You know, looking at it last Saturday, I would have said he would have definitely been out of the game against Dundee United, but it has been a wee bit more positive, and we'll just need to see how that one goes. Ross Tierney unfortunately pulled up again in training the other day. Again, not too serious, but that was one that was making his way back to hopefully full fitness, but he's just pulled up, and that might set him back a couple of days.
Good luck.